Emission reporting shows the amount of carbon dioxide emissions based on the consumption data on the platform. The calculation is performed by multiplying the consumption during the selected time period with the emission factors for each quantity, and results are reported in tons of CO2. The emission factor valid at any given time is taken into account. You can use either country-specific average emission factors or facility-specific factors. Our customer service is responsible for maintaining the country-specific factors. Users can also choose to import facility-specific emission factors on the platform. The factors are stored in units of grams per kilowatt-hour, except for waste, where the factor is set in grams per kilogram. Facility-specific factors are valid from the set start date until the next updated factor is saved. Facility-specific emission factors are typically entered into the system annually using the mass import tool, but you can update the factors more frequently if necessary. You can also update emission factors for facilities one by one using the facility information form, which can be accessed through the pencil icons in the table report. The emission factor entry process is the same as saving other facility properties. For further instructions, refer to the video e.g. EMS, Facility Information Form. Mass import function is protected with the facility data mass import role, which can be assigned to the customer's person in charge of emission reporting. With the mass import tool, you can update emission factors for all facilities within the profile or for a subset of them. Mass import can be found in the table report of the reporting service. Start by selecting the facilities for which you want to save the factors from the checkboxes in the table. Choose Mass Import of Emissions from the menu that opens with the three-dot button. The data is entered into 4 columns in the table. Energia ID is the facility's unique identifier in the platform. The quantity ID is used to define for which quantity the emission factor is being saved. The valid from column specifies from when the factor is valid, and the emission factor value to be saved is entered in the value column. You can get a list of the selected facility's Energia ID identifiers by using the Download Report function in the top right corner of the window. You can use the downloaded Excel sheet to compile the data to be imported. The quantities and their identifiers can be found in the glossary of the user manual. Once the factor rows are ready, the contents of the 4 columns are pasted into the import table in the platform using the Ctrl+C and Ctrl+V functions. After entering the data into the table, click the Next button, and the system will validate the content before starting the saving process. Any errors will be shown in the status column. You can correct the possible errors either directly in the import table or go back to the previous step and re-import the corrected data. Finally, save the data by clicking the Save button. The emission factor entry is completed when the status column shows the text Saved. You can view the climate emissions in the reporting services alongside consumption data, the same as other derived values. Add emissions to reports from the Emissions drop-down menu on the left panel. Country-specific and facility-specific emissions are differentiated on the platform by adding a location suffix to country-specific emissions, while facility-specific factors are presented without the suffix. Facility-specific and country-specific emissions can be viewed separately or side by side. You can also select whether the emission reporting uses measured or normalized heat consumption. In addition to the reporting service, you can view emission data in the Climate Impact widget on the platform's dashboard. Select the Climate Impacts widget for the dashboard by clicking the plus widget button in the top right corner. The window shows emissions for the current year in a pie chart categorized by quantities. The total emissions for the current year and the percentage change compared to the previous year are shown in the center of the pie chart. Next to the chart, the percentage change in consumption compared to the previous year is also displayed. By comparing changes in consumption and overall emissions, you can get an overview of whether the change in emissions is driven by changes in consumption or other factors. The bar chart below shows the emissions by quantities for the past 3 years. In the settings of the view, you can modify the name of the widget, the emission factors used, whether the emissions are based on measured or normalized consumption, and the comparability criterion to be used.